Welcome to the 80s and 90s Presents 99, where every day is a party like it's 1999. Here's your hosts, Jamie Fenderson and Milo Dennison.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, came out in 1999, was the highest grossing film of the year, beating out The Matrix amongst many other fantastic films.
Movies suck, dude. And it's disappointing. It did beat out so many, because that year had, you know how I think about that year. And then that POS has the highest gross because everybody went to go see it because it was Star Wars. Everybody was so excited about it.
We were all anxious. We're like, we love Star Wars. Star Wars is the best. Written and directed by George Lucas, who, hadn't written and directed a Star Wars film since the first one. And so everybody, of course, wanted to see it. I had a great cast, Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor. Like, how could it possibly go wrong? Oh, we found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw it in the theaters, right?
I did. I was one of those people that went and saw it that year in the theaters.
So was everybody else in the world. But I remember I was in the military and everybody's excited, right? Because we grew up with Star Wars is a part of our culture, right?
Hell yeah.
And we went to see it and it was just so bad. It was so dumb. And everybody, you still have your camp. Probably some of our listeners are like, yeah, it's okay. Ebert liked it. Robert Ebert.
Oh, well, good for him.
He gave it a thumbs up. That's why I don't trust critics anymore. Because I'm like, you're full of crap, Robert Ebert, because it's totally crap. It's dumb. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's so disappointing.
Of all the Star Wars films, it is the worst, which is saying a lot because a couple of them have been pretty crap recently. I mean, everything about it. The acting is bad. The CGI is atrociously bad. The writing is bad. There is literally nothing good about this film.
Yeah. And you talk about the CGI. So, by the way, we're just going to rant today. Today's our rant.
If you're listening and you like Star Wars Episode 1,
you probably shouldn't listen to this. And if you're used to our more upbeat episodes, which most are, this isn't that one. We're just going to bitch and moan for like 20 minutes. So just pre-warn you. But the actors were basically in front of green screens. And then they had this shitty CGI stuff plastered on the back. And it was just, it doesn't hold up. It wasn't even good back then.
No, that's the thing. It was terrible back then. It
was bad. And I don't know if it's a monument of technology. No, it's not. It was crap. And it's even worse nowadays. And you'd even see stuff like what people are running, but then they kind of slow down to a trot. If you look closely, you'll see that a lot of that, like people running and then they slow down to a trot
because they're out of space from the green screen.
Running out of space from they're about to hit something because they're in a little sound stage the whole time, and it's just this crappy CGI. And then Jar Jar Binks, so it's so cool because he's like a completely computer generated character. Yeah, but he's annoying and stupid cartoon character. Misa baby, Misa baby. He's supposed to be cute, but I just want to. Everybody wanted to kill him.
He's the Star Wars character that nobody wanted. Like the toys, like even little kids were like, no thanks. He was like annoying and defensive. Right? He's like, first, let's create this stereotype and offend everybody and be super annoying about it. Like, I mean, he's literally hated that they were planning to have him in like the second and third movie, but they pretty much cut him out because he was so terrible.
Yeah, he was bad. Well, and then like the Trade Federation, they have kind of accents like they're Arabs or Jews or something because they like money.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're going full stereotype.
Oh, yeah. Let's be offensive to everyone. It was
just the dialogue, like little kid Anakin. And you and I don't like, I mean, you got to be a pretty good kid actor for us to like you, because we don't like like Star Trek kid episodes. We don't like kid actors. Unless you're good, and he wasn't.
No, poor guy.
Are you an angel?
Oh, that's some awesome dialogue there. Oh,
good job, George.
Oh,
are you an angel?
I do feel bad for him though, because he was heavily ridiculed. Like kids in his school would pick on him and stuff. Like imagine being this kid. You're like, I'm going to be in a Star Wars film. Yay. And then you do it and everybody's like, you suck. Like,
and he never went back to acting. He's like, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I do. I feel really bad for him.
And the acting was bad with the good actors. Like there were good actors in this, but you can't give them shit dialogue and put them in front of a green screen, a warehouse, and say act well. Like even the best actors are going to have a bad performance because you just set them up for failure, man.
Totally. Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson. This had a lot of talented people in it, and it's
they were good because they were set up to be not good. You can't. Nobody could be good. You could. There were some of the best actors in Hollywood at the time. They're not good though, because you can't be good because it's a shit movie. It's just bad.
Oh yeah. And like even the fight sequences, right? Like people, I remember like the fight sequence, that final fight with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn and stuff. And there's like, oh, that's so cool with the dual lightsabers and stuff. But if you watch it again, like watch it now and watch how ridiculous it is. Because like
choreographed.
Well, yeah, the choreographing was just
practiced that pretty well.
Not well at all. Like, because there's moments where like you could literally watch like them swinging over the person's head, or to easily be able to like duck it or jump it, and then like the dual lightsaber, like they're constantly hitting the ends. Like, why at no point are they swinging towards the center of the fucking dual lightsaber to break it in half? And then there's one really obvious bad one where they're all three are fighting. And Darth Maul has his back to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan literally swings his lightsaber at him, but somehow magically misses him in the back, and then does this twirl for completely no reason at all. That's the thing. It has all these weird twirls in it. Like, swing around. These twirls look cool. And like everybody's twirling and you're like, nobody twirls in a fucking sword fight. Jeez. It looks cool. I'm going to twirl and then swing my lightsaber above their head. So they have to duck like half an inch to avoid it.
Yeah. Darth Maul. And he was like a menacing bad guy. But then they just killed him off and you never saw him again. Which is weird because like the next movie after that was like this, Christopher Lee, just this handsome old gentleman. It's like, oh no, it's a handsome old gentleman. What a bad guy. But they just kill him off. He's done. Man. Well, you know what else pissed me off? By the way, we're ranting. This is a total rant episode.
The rant episode, Star Wars episode 1, Phantom Menace, the rant episode.
the rant files. So the Force is this mysterious thing, right? From our Star Wars.
Until then, yeah.
But now we got to come up with some stupid reason for it. And it's midi-chlorians in your blood. Oh, let me test your midi-chlorians, Anakin. Ooh, he's got a high midi-chlorian count. Oh, so it's just kind of this blood thing.
It's like a blood thing. Okay. That's cool, I guess. Whatever.
I mean, you either have that or you don't. Like hemophilia, right? Like whatever. Totally took all the mystery out of it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like
pseudo-scientifically like explain it now for no reason.
I need a midichlorian check. Psh, he has a lot of midichlorians. He could be a Jedi.
He's the chosen one because he has a lot of midichlorians in his blood.
He's are the chosen one.
Because he has 87 percentile midichlorians.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, he's in the top 80% of midichlorian recipients. And in A New Hope, Obi-Wan actually describes the Force too. And he's basically just like, it's an energy field created by all living things, right? And it's like, why couldn't they just keep it at that? Like, well, why keep it as this cool, mysterious thing? And it's like, no, it's these little things in your blood.
But there's no reason for it.
There's no reason for it.
If there was a reason for it, I'd be like, okay, but there's absolutely no reason for it. It doesn't carry the story anywhere.
Yeah. It's literally
just tries to explain why this little kid who's a shitty actor is like the one with the Force. And we don't care. You don't have to explain it. He just has to be one with the Force, and that's good enough for us. It's a fantasy movie.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, by getting into these details, you're ruining it. Like C-3PO. First of all, who cares who built C-3PO, let alone the fact that Anakin Skywalker built C-3PO? So what?
Wow, what a coincidence.
Of course he did, because we have to explain where C-3PO came, and it has to be connected to him in some way.
There's no reason for it.
No
It's
reason
stupid.
for it.
Why can't he just be a protocol droid from somewhere? Someone built him somewhere. Who cares? But Anakin built him. Big surprise. Anakin built C-3PO. Oh, man.
Great, good for him.
That's the biggest thing since Darth Vader was Luke's father. What a reveal. Holy shit balls.
Yeah, and why? Why would a child Anakin build a protocol droid? Of all the droids he could have potentially tried to build, why that one? Like, what's he need a fucking protocol drill? I have a droid that speaks some 100,000 languages or whatever it is.
It's a feminine droid who speaks languages. My mom really wanted one of those astromech droids who can help around the house. But I was like, you know what? Just in case some other language speaking people come around, we need to like have an effeminate droid who can translate that. Yeah. That's what I'm going to spend my time on.
This makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Well, from there's a documentary about the making of it. And here's what I think happened. Looking at the documentary and George Lucas and his interaction with people, I think he had this God complex. I think he became this kind of godlike figure because he made Star Wars, and it got to his head. So you see him in this documentary, and he'd come and look at the things people were doing and like bless it or not bless it. And they're always trying to please him because he's King George, right?
Look what I did, God, George.
What do you think, George? Could I get your blessing? Oh, you're God to me, man. Like you're the guy in charge. And it really was that way. It's like this creepy dictatorship. And what I think happened is everybody was afraid to say, you know what, George? I think maybe we should go another direction, or maybe this is full of shit, or maybe we should try something else. They didn't conflict with him at all because he's this godlike King George, and nobody, you never saw in this documentary, nobody ever conflicted with him. They're like, please have my blood, do have your blessing, Lord. Okay. Like they're just kowtowing to the guy. So what happened was he's this megalomaniacal, like self-righteous, I can't do wrong figure, and he's blessing things or not blessing things, and nobody's giving any critical feedback on anything that he says. And when what happens when you do that is you come out with this grandiose kind of shitty movie like he did. And I love George for creating Star Wars, and a couple times before that,
he was involved in Indiana Jones. American Graffiti is a brilliant film. Or it's not a brilliant film, but it's an excellent film. You know?
But I think the Phantom Menace showed that he got too big, and we talked about this before. You get too big, you get too much money, and then you start creating shit, and that's what he did. And nobody said anything about it. And that's what happens. I'll bet when he made the original Star Wars, maybe he conflicted a lot with his colleagues. They were like, George, man, we can't do that. And maybe we should do this. And he's probably fighting. That's why it was so hard for him. And he was just like a gritty filmmaker. But now he's got a shitload of money to make his movie and nobody's questioning him. So he makes this crap, and it's complete crap. This movie is crap.
And he had been making video games for a while prior to this. So why not try to make your movie look like a video game with the CGI and the pod race thing? It's like, oh, you know what? Let's do this completely pointless pod race so that way we can also have a pod race in the video game that's going to come out around the same time.
I'm a kid, and look at kids like this shit. Look at me.
Look,
are you an angel?
It's pod racing.
And again, it's disappointing in a few ways. Firstly, when you're a Star Wars fan like we are, of course, everybody was in the 80s, right? If you grew up as a kid in the 80s, you fucking love Star Wars. But then you go to see this and you're like, oh, that's disappointing. That was a shitty movie. Not only that, though, because it came out in 1999, and there were so many great movies that came out that year. And this one was the most
watched film that year.
And that's disappointing too. And it's disappointing too, because I bet 80% of the people who spent money to go watch that movie probably regretted it, but they did it because they didn't know it would suck that bad. And it's a Star Wars movie. So it made a lot of money on fan goodwill. And I think they kind of ripped us off. So fuck you, George.
Yeah, they ripped me off, man. When I went and saw it,
Everybody
I felt
went
screwed.
to see it. I felt violated.
And I
Like
remember
someone shoved
leaving
a cucumber up my ass.
Yeah, very distinctly remember like watching it and leaving the theater and being like, that was awful.
It's complete crap. So I think our opinion's pretty known now.
That's it. So thumbs down, Jamie. You gonna go with the thumbs down? Gonna disagree with the critics?
I'm thinking thumbs down. Yeah. And the critics. This is why I don't like critics. These are the same people who think Star Trek, like
the
go
new
to this
Star
Rotten
Treks.
Tomatoes, Star Trek Discovery is like 98%. The critics love it, and the audience score is like 40% or so, 38% or something because people hate it. And they believe their own bullshit, which
But
is why
it's
they're
so
still
dark and mysterious.
they're
and
trying to make
everybody
it their
mumbles.
flagship on their Paramount Plus. They still make it. And then if you don't like it, you're sexist and racist.
Oh yeah, because it stars a female character.
And she's a female character of color. So if you're a white male and you have criticisms of it, you're just sexist and racist. But that's the same with this Star Wars. Is like, how can you not like it? It's Star Wars, it's so good. No, it's not. Just because it's Star Wars doesn't mean it's good. It sucks.
Here's my argument. I mean, I realized Janeway wasn't black, but she was female, and I like Voyager, as we have discussed in the past.
Well, I like Deep Space Nine. Cisco's a black dude.
Cisco's black, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I just think Discovery sucks, and I think this and you if you have criticism of this movie, it's just saying, well, it's Star Wars so good, you just don't understand it. No, it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. I think most people agree that it sucks. There are a few people that like it, and I think it's usually most people that weren't raised on Star Trek like we were. You know, it definitely a younger generation that maybe this is their introduction to it, like it. But us people that saw the original at some point, the original before they got special editioned and any of that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, and I knew George Lucas was up to something nefarious when he started goofing around with his old movies, where they sold the VHSs and they said, this is the last time you can get Star Wars. Remember that? And I was like,
yep.
I'm going to go get Star Wars after the last time. No, what they meant was this is the last time you can get the original versions. And he's going to put all this CGI bullshit in the old movies because he's so insecure. And he's going to fill his original masterpieces with all this CGI crap.
And make tons of money because everybody's going to see it.
And now it's hard to find the original versions of the Star Wars without all that CGI bullshit he put in there.
I wish Disney would track the original version down, remaster it, and release it like as originally released. They would make so much money off of that. Like, because people would just lap that shit up. I'd buy it.
I would. The original one.
The original one. Like, no additions, no anything, literally just digitally remastering
when
it.
Came out 1977.
The 1977 version. Not anything after that. Remaster that and release that as it originally was. That one I would buy. I would happily buy that.
Listeners, if you don't hear from us, it's because Disney came and sent their goons after us. And
well, I think they're already after you. What did you say in the past that got Mickey?
Oh, right.
You said
they're already after me.
Yeah. Jamie's already actually on Disney's hit list.
I'm on Disney's hit list. So if I don't show up for a podcast, you'll know what's up. Well, or I just might have like flaked out, but you need to check in on me now, man, because Disney's coming after me.
I love Disney. Disney is the best company ever, and they make the best movies ever. And I would gladly be in any Disney movie that they ever make. And they are the best.
Hey, maybe Disney will pick our podcast up. Then I'll love Phantom Menace. I'll love it, dude. I'll be like, oh, everything I said, I recant. We're Disney podcast now. So they'll get rid of that podcast. We'll do another one to replace it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why Phantom Menace is the best ever.
They'll delete any episode that we talk negatively about them. You're like, okay, guys, we want you to release a new one. And we'll be like, okay, yeah, you're paying us.
Disney, just hire us. You picked up our podcast, so we're good. We'll say whatever you want, Mickey.
We love it. Star Wars Episodes 1's the best of them all.